Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, brought to you by the MS Global Support Network. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me at MS in It for Life, and I spell that MSENIT, the number 4 LIFE, and I'm on Twitter, y'all, because Twitter is worldwide, and I like the worldwide community, and it's really simple, and you can find people really easily. You can just type in their name if you know it. You can type in their handle, like MS in It for Life, if you know that. You can also just search by things with the hashtag. I search for hashtag ChatMS most weeks. Even when I don't participate for one reason or another, I try and look at it. And, some days I just don't feel like talking, which is weird for me. But yeah, it happens. And, you can search for hashtag MS or hashtag multiple sclerosis. And you can also search for hashtag MS friends. And I use that hashtag quite a lot. I like it. I can let everybody know at once what my day is like. So I really like that one. If you write to me, if you send me a message, I do respond. And sometimes if I don't respond right away, it's just because I got tied up and doing something else, or maybe depression was trying to kick my butt that day, but I'll get back to you. I'm not as good at the part where you go to the home section and just read through everybody's tweets. That gets a little overwhelming. Not to mention, I don't want to get into the political mess. I want to stay out of that. I don't need that stress. And, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So I pretty much stay out of politics and religion and all that kind of stuff just for that reason. So anyways, moving on here. I was trying to think of something to talk about. And once again, I'm finding myself in the closet, y'all. I am in the closet once again, in the literal sense, because it's super, super cold out and it's super windy out. Well, to me, it's super, super cold. It was 38 degrees when I looked a little while ago, and like I said, the wind is like nuts. Let me see if it'll come up here and tell me what it's been like. But my app has not been cooperating. You guys know what that's like. So the winds have been strong enough that it's knocked out a couple of the weather stations near me. So, anyways, I just find the closet really fun and really friendly. And yeah, that's not right. It says it's 9 miles an hour, and it is definitely more than 9. Or at least where I'm at it is. And these things are specific. Oh my gosh, Campobello's not even showing up. So, any case, the closet's a happy place. It's a fun place. It's, where you hide out from the world. It's where I can record without the echoes. And, all my favorite clothes are in here. My blankets are in here, and my high heels that one day maybe I'll be able to wear are in here. And I say that because it's my goal to be able to do all the things I used to do. Even if I don't do them quite as well, that's fine. But I would like to be able to do all of them. I'd like to be able to climb again. Maybe a little safer now than I used to, but, um, you know, hooking on with ropes and all of that would probably be a good idea. But at the same time, I want to be able to climb. I want to be able to lift my phone above my head. I want to be able to hold a camera still. I want to have a strong enough core that when I put on those heels to walk, it doesn't send pain spiraling down to my foot, because those sciatic nerves have been damaged on both sides, and it usually will kick in on the left side first if I put on a pair of heels. Now, I can walk in them because I've worked really, really hard. And when I say really, really hard, that is in terms of doing the correct exercises in the correct order, getting better at each, and better and better and better until I could stand up and walk. And at the same time, we were working a little on my core just because it was so bad, even before I had the orders to work on my core. And this was done simply in the terms of doing bridges. That's the only thing that I was doing for that would help with my core. And you need to be able to do bridges to help with a lot of things. They're good for the muscles in your legs. They're good for the muscles all the way around your core. And they force you to breathe right. You know, if you breathe in and out at the right times, if you count in the exhale, all of these things kind of help you with your core. Now, when I first started doing these, I couldn't count, but, you know, and I didn't do that many. You know, I didn't start out doing 30 of anything. And, you know, where I went backwards, which, you know, we do that sometimes, I didn't go as far backwards. So my core has never been completely regained. Neither has the insides of muscles of my legs or the outside muscles, just the tops and backs, or fronts and backs, I guess you would say. But it's really obvious because I've never been bow-legged a day in my life before MS. And the muscle atrophy that I still have, which, by the way, so I can come out of the closet about this, can be in any muscle in your body. This includes your tongue, people. And it's you know, having muscle atrophy in your face or your tongue, which is part of your face, but, you know, having muscle atrophy in muscles that aren't your legs, that's kind of a little surprising to a lot of people. And the muscle atrophy in my arms is one that people don't understand either, because, again, I've got the muscles working for my grip. I'm not dropping nearly as many things. When I start dropping something, it's usually because I've overworked my hands. My hands are now able to be laid down flat, which for the longest time, they were curled up in a ball and I could not straighten them. Now, they would straighten, but you had to pull them straight and move them other ways. And I've learned all this stuff from physical therapy. So when I go backwards, it's just a matter of starting again and building that strength back up. And frankly, I've been kind of failing at that. I've not been doing my exercises anywhere near as religiously. I say religiously, but anywhere near as much as I did before. I did every single one of my exercises every single solitary day prior to this past summer. And when I got back at the beginning of July, it was like poof, and it was gone. And then I started having issues. So I've just never gotten myself back in that healthy habit. So that's where I am at. And I keep trying. One of these days I will be able to hold a camera still. With Christmas coming up, I keep hearing, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? And I know if I said I wanted a new DSLR camera, which is like a 35 millimeter but digital, then, and that way you have full control over your camera. And I use manual settings mostly, so if you're just taking an automatic picture, you don't really need one if it's set on auto. But if you learn how to use aperture and shutter speed and things like that, then you can create your own photographs, and it won't just be what you saw. So anyways, I do want a new camera. I just don't know that I can really hold it still. And before I can do my crazy stuff that I always did with the camera, because I did something that was called intentional camera movement, and I used a lot of blur. And the reason for that was because when I first started, other than the fact that I don't want to take the same picture every single time, and I wasn't going very far from home, it was more about emotions and how I felt and what I could see. And my vision has never been 20/20. I don't even know what that means anymore. I mean, it's been so long that I've been looking at fuzz that fuzz doesn't really matter. So, those are some of my long-term goals. And in the short term, I just want to be warm and safe. And that's all, and I want my family warm and safe. And I want all of you, my family, my friends, even people I've never talked to before that listen to my show, I want all of you to be as good as you can possibly be. So, I think there is a lot of hope for all of us. I think that we can all get to the bottom of this together, and we can solve our issues, and that's what #ChatMS is about. It's about solving issues and getting those suggestions. But it's really cold outside. Really, really cold for me. Now, the people up north, they're dealing with snow and ice and all of that stuff. And I want y'all to remember to be safe. It's easy to fall and get hurt, especially when you're talking about ice and snow. One wrong step and bam, you've just hit the ground. And I know America's Funniest Videos and all of that seems to think that falling is funny, but it's not. Nobody wants to fall. And we certainly don't want to fall and get injured because it takes so much longer to heal and to get back to where you were prior to the injury. So I want everybody to be super, super careful. And a lot of us with MS have this crazy superpower. Yes, I can trip on air. No kitties are necessary, and cats just naturally, run around your feet and rub up against you and in between your legs. And it's super, super easy to trip over a cat. And my mom knows this. And she knows about both of them. She was going to check the mail one day, and there was one little patch of ice left on the ground where she was walking, and bam, she hits the ground. Result, broken arm. And it was just because it was one of those black ice sort of deals, and she didn't see it. She knows not to step on the ice. She didn't step on it intentionally, but she did, and that caused her to slip and fall. And I don't want, we trip on air enough. That's our superpower. We can do that. And a lot of times we can do it very gracefully. But we don't need to add to that by accidentally slipping on black ice. So if you're using a cane, or if you're using a walker, or even if you're in a wheelchair, be careful and aware of the black ice. And, we don't want to fall. We don't want to have the injuries. But at the same time, we can't let the weather stop us from being ourselves and going and doing what we need or want to do. I mean, for me, it's all about wants, really, because I don't have any responsibilities left. I lost those when I was diagnosed. My diagnosis was like through the roof, and I started out not being able to walk, not being able to hold a drink bottle, those little plastic squishy drink bottles, even when it was half empty. It was too heavy. I couldn't lift my arms to give a person a hug or anything. I couldn't keep up with a conversation. It was like people were talking gibberish. They're all like, blah, 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 and I'm going, huh? And so I was confused. My cognitive skills were bad. I heard the words at my diagnosis, and my doc said, don't go looking things up online because that'll just scare the crap out of you and blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't. And within a couple of days, even with the IV steroids, I went from just having lost my vision, which was completely gone in my right eye and half gone in my left. And but I went from just that, which is all that was going on when I first saw the neurologist that day, to also including not being able to use my legs, not being able to use my arms, not understanding what people were saying, not being able to speak, not being able to think, not being aware of what was going on around me. It was like everything else had been sped up and it was just flying around me. So I was completely out of it for those reasons. I still had my core then, though. That one thing came later. So did the incontinence, and so did the hearing issues as far as tinnitus. Did I say that right? But, the ringing in the ears, that came later. The swallowing sort of issues came later. The inability to smile because the muscles were too weak, that came later. And, of course, all the muscle atrophy came later. But right from the get-go, I was clueless. I was non-functional. And when I say I was non-functional, I was pretty non-functional in every single way. So I have no responsibilities other than my critters. I take care of my dog and I take care of my fish. And I try to take care of me as best I can, which, includes not tripping and making sure that those hazards are not there. So I did want to bring that up, because there's no kitty needed for me to trip and fall. And I imagine there's no kitty needed for a lot of y'all to trip and fall. Now, after my mom broke her arm, and she did have several cats, she decided to get up in the middle of the night, and this still isn't funny, but it kind of is, it kind of is funny, and only because it's been so many years, it definitely wasn't funny at the time, but now, yeah, we can kind of laugh at it. But she got up in the middle of the night. Now, she didn't want to turn a light on or anything or wake anybody up. So she gets up to go to the bathroom. And here comes a kitty. A pretty cute little kitty. Purring at her feet probably. But she didn't see the cat and she tripped over the cat. And in trying to protect her broken arm, she broke her ankle. Oh my gosh. So now she's in a cast and she's sitting on the couch and she's got her foot propped up, and my dad had thought, well, it's probably just a sprain, and she finally called me that day, or later that day, very later that day, because I was a substitute. And I got down there and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mama, this is a broken bone. And I had enough experience with broken bones. I mean, I did raise a kid from the 1800s. He still played outside every day. He still climbed trees. He still pushed his boundaries and limits. And so he was breaking bones left and right. Matter of fact, the kids in 6th grade told him he cheated because they were having a test where you had to name all the bones. And they said he cheated because he'd broken them all, and that's why he knew them. Yeah, okay, well, not quite all of them, but he had broken a lot by then. And that trend didn't stop when he was in 6th grade. It continued on for quite a while. But regardless, she trips over the cat. I get her to the hospital. And I remember going in there, and the doctors see her with a broken arm, and broken arm, and they x-rayed her ankle and her foot and everything. And it was also broken. And hospital's first thought was, are you being abused? Did somebody hit you? Did somebody push you? Are you getting hurt because of another individual? And it was like, no, I tripped over the kitty. And, sometimes these kinds of accidents just happen, and there's nothing we can do about them. But at the same time, we can make our houses safe, and we can make our yards safe, keeping that snow shoveled and the de-icer out, so that you have a place to walk without the ice. That's a good thing to do. Just as having things in your house to hold on to or to grab a hold of if you feel like you're going to fall. These are all good things. And I know there are some groups out there that will come to your house for free and evaluate you and your house to make sure it's safe. And, we just don't want to fall. So I fell in the shower and it was bad. I hit my my back, just kind of underneath the shoulder blade on the right hand side, and I hit it on the big faucet on my way down. And I don't know how long I laid there screaming before somebody found me. I don't think it was that terribly long, but because there was somebody else in the house, it's just hard to hear through the walls, So, but that set me back at least a year. So you don't want that kind of thing to happen. And I did that because I was reaching for something. And that caused me to lose my balance. And my balance wasn't so good on that day because of muscle spasms that I was having on the sciatic nerve, which isn't fun either. So I had this terrible, terrible fall. And it set me way, way back. It took forever for it to heal and for me to be able to do anywhere near what I was able to do. So I'm still not back to the same place with my arms that I once was. But I'm off track. So I've got to get back in that good, healthy routine. But yeah, we need our place safe. So now I don't reach for stuff anymore, and I have these little suction cup deals that are like caddy holders. So I have a place for soap and shampoo and conditioner and a razor blade and anything I might need while I'm taking a shower without having to reach for it. Because reaching above my head or below my waist in a shower, that can be a problem. So guys, I don't need a kitty. I don't. I fall plenty often just tripping over air and tripping on sunshine. And, all summer long I was tripping on sunshine. And now that it's winter, I do not want to trip on ice, because ice will send me flying backwards, and we all know flying backwards is way worse than flying forwards. So check your house out, check your yard out, make sure you're in a safe environment so that you don't fall. Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you, Erica Lyons Richardson, for being who you are. And thank you to all my MS friends out there. I love you all. Of course, my time is up. So till next week, y'all smile big, smile often, and laugh a whole lot. Laughter is so important, and it helps you feel better. If nothing else, make silly faces at yourself until you laugh, So, it's just super important. And then most important, of course, is to love yourself. Your entire self, including your wacky MS stuff. Love it, own it, embrace it, because it's a part of you too. Bye, y'all.